Sing high, sing low. With Dash Kennett.
Let's sing high and let's sing low of our country long ago, how the people made it grow. Come and hear this story. Let's take pioneering trips, railroads, wagons, sailing ships, over plains and mountain tips. Come and hear this story. Hi, how are you today? Tell me, do you have anything like this around your house? Sort of a large pet, isn't he? A pretend dinosaur, I guess, would be what you'd call him. Or do you have perhaps a monkey, like this fellow? Or perhaps you have a lion, like this fuzzy one. Well, none of these animals would you be very apt to find in your house, I know. The big fellow, the pretend dinosaur, was really living years and years ago, many thousand years ago. The monkey and the lion we can see today if we go to the zoo. Before we go, how about singing a song? You know that one about the animal fair. I went to the animal fair, the birds and the beasts were there. The big baboon by the light of the moon was combing his auburn hair. The monkey, he got skunked. He fell on the elephant's trunk. The elephant sneezed and fell on his knees, and what became of the monk? Oh, I went to the animal fair. The birds and the beasts were there. The big baboon by the light of the moon was combing his auburn hair. The monkey, he got skunked. He fell on the elephant's trunk, and the elephant sneezed and fell on his knees, and what became of the monkety, 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 monk? Well, today, if you wanted to go and see a large animal, say like a lion, or even a swinging monkey, you'd probably go to the zoo. Do you enjoy going as much as I do? Well, if you do, then why don't we take a trip? There's a zoo right near me, right here in San Francisco. Maybe you have one too. But let's go right now, shall we? Here we are. We spoke of monkeys. Well, this is where they live. See the great big rocks and the caves that they have to climb in? And they have trees, too, from which to swing. And here's the great big cat, the tiger. See his stripes? You know his colors protect him in the jungle. He's pacing back and forth just as he would if he were in his native home. And here comes his dinner. He needs lots of meat. And this is one of the biggest jobs of the zookeeper. Look at him grab at it. Big cats eat more meat almost than any animal at the zoo. Here's our friend the elephant. With his great long trunk, he can curl up. The elephants can learn to do tricks. These fellows could even join a circus. Look at this one get down on his knees. Maybe he's saying his prayers. What's coming up next? Can you guess? The polar bear. He, like the tiger, has a coat that protects him, too. It's white, for he naturally is found around snow and ice. The zookeeper has provided him with a swimming pool. This helps keep him cool. Here are some people feeding some bear. The brown kind of bear that we have in our country. He has a nice, warm, soft coat. And here's the hippo. He has a swimming pool all to himself. And just look at that mouth. I guess no one has one quite as large as the hippo's. He spends lots of his time in the water, swimming around and keeping cool. And here are some other fellows that like the water too. The seals. They splash in and out all day long. They've learned to really sort of put on a show for everybody. See, the zookeeper allows you to buy food. Fish that's been cut up into bite size for the seals, and he'll let you feed it right to the seals. They love to just slither across that rock, right in and out of the water. They can be very demanding, too. You're apt to hear them bark an awful lot of the time. Look at this fellow. He just seems to be saying with that flipper going, "I want some food. Give it to me quickly." Sometimes 2 or 3 of them will try and go after the same bite of food. And how about this for swimming? Are you as graceful? When I walked way around to the other side of the pool, they followed me. They seemed to know that I had a bag of feed for them. They all jumped and splashed right below me. And here are our mountain friends, the sheep. You find them only in the very high crags and peaks of the Rockies. You never get this close to them. And the buffalo, the same way. There are a few on a game preserve here, but usually you find them in the zoo. Great big animals, almost the biggest of all. Well, you know, those buffalo that we saw, if you and I had lived in our country years and years ago, in fact, sort of at the beginning, as we think of it as our country, we would have found great herds of them, just wandering wild. The Indians and the white people both used them for blankets, their skins for blankets, and their meat for food. But today they have to be protected because there aren't very many of them left. Well, there have been lots of changes in zoos, too. In fact, there weren't very many zoos until, well, about 100 years ago. And first of all the animals were kept behind bars, in the sense that they were all kept in cages. But now, zookeepers and the zoologists have learned to put them in an area that would be more natural. But like the polar bear that you saw. He had a swimming pool and rocks to climb on. And the monkeys, they had their caves and their trees. I'm sure they're much happier than when they're just in a cage. You notice that you don't find any dogs or, say, cats, in the sense of kind of a kitty you have around the house as a pet. No cows or pigs. Those are domestic animals rather than wild animals. And yet, you do find that we would have the domestic animals of other countries in our zoo, like the camel. He's just as common to his native area as, well, say, a cow would be to us. Tell me, would you like to work in a zoo? How would you like to have a job there? Having any idea what you do? Well, actually, there are three kinds of jobs. There's the keeper, and he does lots of things. Well, he does, say, the feeding of the animals. He takes care of them to see that they're clean and sees that their swimming pools are kept fresh with water. And also, he does two things. He protects the people from the animals and the animals from the people. Now, that may sound strange, but you see, if he were not there, perhaps the people would feed the animals too much food, and this would make them sick, or perhaps the wrong kind of food. And when you turn it around the other way, people do need protection in the sense that sometimes they're apt to get even too close to a cage, and then there's the danger that they might be bitten or scratched. Well, the keeper, that's one job. And then there's the zoologist. Now, he's a man who has studied for a number of years the animal habits. And he frequently is the head of a zoo, called the director. And out of his knowledge, he makes up the sort of rules and regulations for the zoo. He decides what time the animals should be fed and what they should be fed. And you know, sometimes this becomes quite a problem because on occasion you have an animal that wants some very rare plant and is used to some plant that grows far away but isn't found here in the United States. And then he has to figure out a substitute that will keep the animal alive. Then, if there is trouble at the zoo in the sense that an animal gets a tummy ache or something like that, there's the veterinarian. He's the third kind of a job that you might hold at the zoo. And he studied for many years, too. He's learned how to take care of the animals. They become ill or fix their bones if they get broken. You know, their food really is one of the most expensive items in the sense that, well, you saw all those pounds of meat that those cats were eating. Well, today, since we've just been sort of having fun, I thought I'd sing that silly song about the goat. You know. I had a goat, and his name was Jim. I bought him for his precious skin. That goat got loose about 9:30, ate 3 red shirts right off the line. I grabbed that goat by the wool of the back and tied him to a railroad track. He bucked and bawled with might and main, puffed up those shirts and flagged the train. Well, it's time to go again. But maybe we can take another trip to a zoo again soon. Meanwhile, let's sing high and let's sing low of our country long ago, how the people made it grow. Come and hear this story. Let's take pioneering trips, railroads, wagons, sailing ships, over plains and mountain tips. Come and hear this story.
This is National Educational Television.